Hello everyone, this is a very quick tutorial on cookies in PHP. Let's go ahead and create a cookie. Create a cookie in PHP, you need to use a built-in function called setCookie. And the setCookie, the bare minimum is a name for that cookie, which allows you to reference the cookie later on using that name and a value for that name. It's very similar to what you do with a variable. So I'll go ahead and call it foo, and then I will put a value here. This is foo value, right? So that's all I have to do in order to set a cookie. You got to keep in mind the cookie must be created before outputting any HTML or any text, right? So I'll go to the browser, I'll open my browser. In order for me to show you the cookie, I will use Google Developer Tools. I'll go inspect element, I click on application tab, and I will go to the cookie and select the local host. So right now I don't have any cookie in this area. I simply go ahead and refresh the page. So as soon as I load the page, then simply you can see a value is appeared in this panel. So the foo is the name of the cookie I create. This is the value, this is the foo value, is the value that I assign. There are some other fields that I will go through them one by one in this tutorial. Domain, path, max age or expiry, size, HTTP, and secure, right? I'll go with the expiry first, or the max age. As you can see, the value is session here, meaning if you close the browser, cookie is gone, right? So you cannot access it after you reopen the browser unless you recreate it again. So I want to get rid of the session. I want to put some lifetime for this, or lifespan for this. I want this to be available, let's say, for next 2 days, right? For that reason, I'm going to start using the third parameter of the cookie, which is from now on, you want to give 2 more days, or 48 hours. That's what we want to do. I will use the built-in time function to get the current time. Then I will add that one to 60 seconds times 60 minutes times 24. So this is 1 day, right? And simply what I can do is I can times this by 2. It means I want this cookie to stay in the user computer for 2 days, right? So if I save this, go back to the browser and refresh the browser, I can simply see the value is changed. Look at this, from session it went to November 6. The day I'm recording this video is November 4. So I can simply go back here. Let me just go here and change this one, let's say, to 4 days, right? Then if I go back to the browser and refresh this, then you will see the date is changed to 11/08, right? Now, if I look at this, so much calculation, I can actually write this a bit simpler. Let me just copy this and show you another way of creating this. I can use another built-in function. It's called str2time, which allows me to convert a string into a time. So I can simply go and say plus, let's say 10 days, right? So if I do this and I'll refresh my page, remember, today is November 4th, so it should be November 14. Here you go. You got that? So simply that allows me to put the date in there. By default, as I said, the path is cookie. If I want to change this path, I simply have to go and add the next parameter, comma, slash, or any other path that I want to do. Then cookie is valid only when the request from the user from that path is coming toward the server, right? So is addressing that path on the server, then the cookie will be passed as well. There is another field here, it's called domain, which you can specify the domain name. By default, whenever you create a domain, the PHP will add a dot at the beginning of the domain. This means it's going to cover all the domain and their subdomain, like www.example.com, abc.example.com, and so on, right? Or you can put your own subdomain as well. Now, if I go ahead and want to specify the domain, I can simply do that. Or I can simply say null or empty a string. In that case, what happens is it simply will pick the domain that you already have in there. Let me see. Okay, let's go ahead and refresh this. There you go, right? So as you can see, now we have 2 cookies, because the very first one was valid on the path cookie folder, and second one I changed it to the root, right? So it also shows the number of character in that cookie, which is 24 character, including space. And what else I have to go here? Let me just delete this, create one more time. So I have the cookie with the path as well. Now I want to go through some other fields as well. As you can see here, I have HTTP and I have secure, right? Now the secure is whenever you want this cookie to be accessible or be sent to the server whenever the request comes through HTTPS. So in that case, I can simply go ahead and do comma, and here say true. By default is false, meaning it can run through HTTP, right? So if I do this and refresh this right now, it does create another cookie, which you cannot see right now, very similar to what we have done with the path, that is only valid through HTTPS. So if I could go and type HTTPS here, then I should be able to see the other one. So I'll go ahead and make this one false because I want this to be run over HTTP as well. And the very last one here is HTTP, is the HTTP, right? Let me go do that, okay? I want to show you something. I will go and close my PHP here and I start writing JavaScript. You know, with JavaScript, we can read the cookies as well. So if I go here and say console log document dot cookie, right? This should allow me to read the value of the cookie if I go to the console. Let me just go ahead, refresh the page. Here you go. This is the value of cookie, right? Sometimes you don't want this cookie be accessible by client-side script like JavaScript, right? So in that case, what you can do is simply you can go ahead and put the HTTP only to true, right? So this means only HTTP can access this one. So if I go back here, refresh this, then I cannot access this value of the cookie using the JavaScript, right? Now, if I want to access the cookie using PHP, there are a few ways of doing that. I can simply go ahead and use super global variable cookie. It's very similar to get and post. Is an associative array, and it requires the name to be able to access it. So if I go ahead and say echo or print, right, and I just go ahead, just type this properly, and do this, I can simply get the value of the cookie, right? Now, sometimes you don't need the cookie. For some reason, you want to delete this cookie. The only thing you have to do is you have to change the expired date to a date that is already passed. This means I can go ahead and say set cookie, the name was foo, right? I don't care about the value, I'll put it a string, and simply I go str 2 times, and I simply would say -1 date, right? So if I do this, then simply the cookie should be expired. So let me just show you this first. I'm gonna comment all this. So if I go back, I still can access the cookie because the cookie has expiry date. But if I go ahead and run this right now, refresh one more time, refresh, and go back to the application, it should delete the cookie, which it doesn't do it. Give me a second. So the issue is, okay, here you go. The pad is missing, right? So I have to have the exact pad. If you remember that when I added the pad and the original pad that I had before, it created 2 cookies. So I'm going to put the proper pad that I had, so the one that I want to delete. So if I go here right now and refresh this, you see it says undefined foo, right? Let me try this one more time. So I'm going to set this, and I will comment the delete cookie. I go back, refresh, I'll get the value. Now go back to my code, comment the set cookie, and open the other set cookie, which has -1 day, and I'll put the pad in there, right? So I refresh the cookie. The second time I do, it cannot access the cookie because it simply has been deleted, right? There is another way of adding the cookie to your PHP with the header function. Header is used many places, like when you want to redirect, you actually use header with the location parameter, and you pass the location you want to send the user. But here, you simply would use the set-cookie. You will put the cookie name, cookie value, separate with semicolon, expiry date, right? Whatever date you want. You can put the path, you can put the domain, you can put secure equal true, and HTTP only equal true as well. So this way you are creating a cookie as well, right? So this one way. So I want to go ahead and create a very simple simple application for the cookie. Let me go ahead and create a file. Here I'll call it f2.php. So what I want to do is this. I want to go ahead and create a variable called color, and I want to get this value from the user. So I will simply go say if set get color parameter is passed to this page. Simply go ahead and use the value of the color. Otherwise, let's make it white. Okay, so what I want to do is I actually want to do, let me just call this BG color, it makes more sense. So if the value is correct, then simply what I want to do is I want to create the cookie here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I will go ahead and I will say, let me just make this one empty, no background at all, right? So what I would do is this. I will go ahead and say if $BG color, let's use it not empty, it's better function, not empty BG color. If it's not empty BG color, or, and yeah, if it's not BG color empty, so if it's not empty, I simply go here and I will say, okay, let's go ahead and use super global variable cookie, sorry, set cookie function. So I'll go ahead and I'll call it color, right? And I'll put the value of the BG color here, and I will make this one for the whole path, and I'll go str2 time, let's say +1 year, right? So I'm going to create the cookie here. So let's go ahead and see if this works, right? I'll go back to my browser. I'll go ahead, call f2.php in this case. Okay, refresh. It does not create anything yet. Let me just see. Okay, because there is no color. So I will go ahead and pass the color value now. I will say color is equal yellow, right? So as soon as I do this, expect set parameter to be long. What did I pass to this? I went the name, I went the value. Oh, I put them in the wrong order. This is expiry date, right? Let's go ahead and fix this. And the last part is the path, right? In our case. So I'll go ahead, refresh this. I have the yellow, and this is expire in 2018, November 4, right? Now, what I can do is I can go to F1 here, and let me go ahead and show you the value here. So go ahead and create the HTML document here, doc type, oh my god, doc type, HTML, head, actually I have to have HTML here as well. Okay, copy this, then I go body, and just indent this code to look better as well. Okay, I'm gonna put this script in the head section. Okay, now I want to change the background color. So what I do is I start the style here, and the way I do it, I will go and say body background color, let's say green, for instance, right? Let's just make sure this works. So go back to the browser, I refresh this to f1.php. As you can see, it simply changed the background color. Of course, I'm trying to access the cookie that doesn't exist, so let me fix that one too as well. So I can say if is set $cookie foo, then echo the value. Otherwise, don't echo the value. Okay, so if I go back here now, it is green. So what I want to do, I want to read the value of the cookie if it exists, and then replace the green with whatever is in the cookie. Okay, let's do that. It can be anywhere. I just go ahead and do this. So BG color is equal. I'll go ahead and I say is set $cookie color, right? Simply go ahead and use it. So I'll go here, do the question mark, else, do nothing. Make an empty string, okay, or whatever it is. It can be white, for instance, if I want to, or any other default color, right? Now, I can just simply go ahead, open my PHP here, and echo BG color, which is reading my cookie. So if this is okay, let me just close my PHP here. If this is okay, you should change the background color to yellow. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day.